Facebook on.
Hi. Gratitude morning, everyone. I am happy you could be here on the show Dream Big Dreams. And again, I'm Charles L. Ellis. And for those who know me, you know that I'm really big on changing paradigms and living your dreams in your life to your full potential. And I always say dream big dreams is not just about having a lot of money, but it's also about giving service to the world, about scaling, about changing paradigms and being the best that you can be. And with that being said, my guest today, I am really excited to have her here. She is someone that's really dear to my heart. Her family is. She's been doing some great things. Actually, if I were to read her bio, it would be mind-blowing. So with that being said, I'm going to let my guest, Marjorie, introduce herself. Marjorie, thank you for being on the show. Can you introduce yourself? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charles, for having me. This is an honor. Like I was saying before, we go way back, way back, to elementary school. So to be sitting here, well, I know me elementary school with your sisters because you're older, but to be sitting here and having this conversation with you is quite an honor. So my name is Marjorie Hicks McPike. The Hicks is from way back. I include that in there because of, people in the past that know me, but my name is Marjorie McPike. I am a CPA. I am in Southern California. I'm actually in the Temecula-Wildomar area. What do I do and why do I do it? So my job as a CPA, I have my own CPA firm. I actually went out on my own the end of December, started doing some things. And the reason why I did that is because I saw a lot of people that were becoming entrepreneurs on social media, because I know that 2020 brought about positive and negative things for a lot of people. But what I was seeing was the positive impact that it was having on people's finances. And I saw a lot of people that were making money that hadn't made money before. And so they weren't going to know what to expect with that tax bill. And my whole thing was, we need to talk. You need to understand what's happening so that you can keep some of your money. So that's why I started doing what I do. So not only do I help clients with small business accounting and taxes, I also have a podcast. It's called the CPA Lady Podcast. I'm involved in a couple of nonprofit organizations, and it's all to bring understanding and knowledge to individuals regarding their, like I said, accounting and taxes.
Wow. And yes, and you kind of went past that podcast, that CPA Lady podcast. I watched quite a few of the episodes. I mean, amazing. And I mean, I was taking notes and taking more notes and taking more notes and rewinding. And it was astounding. And awesome. One of the podcasts had to do with something that's really, really dear to me. I really believe in living, learning, loving, and leaving a legacy. But also to go with that, I have a big thing with generational wealth. Yes. And I know you can speak on that. Can you tell me why you think that's important and what is it?
So generational wealth, to me, of course, is leaving in, it's in the Bible, leaving an inheritance to your children's children. So you want to leave an impact on the next generations, right? So that can be financial, it can be spiritual, it can be mental. You want to leave an impact on the next generations. But a lot of the generational wealth that we speak about is financial. It's like, how are you going to leave money to the next generation? So I've seen it done. I've worked in public accounting for 13, 14 years, and I've seen how individuals, they sit down and they speak to an estate, planning attorney, they set up their trust, they put everything in place so that they can pass on generational wealth, so that when they pass away, that they are prepared. A lot of times people are just kind of living day to day, but you have to think about what's going to happen, your beneficiaries, even do you have a trust, right? Because if you don't have your assets in a trust, when you pass away, it goes to probate. And probate is not cheap. probate is not fast, and probate's not private, right? So if your assets go into probate, it's public knowledge. So everyone gets to know what you had. That's the first thing. And then there are statutory fees that are charged on the value of your estate. So that money that you're paying to the trust, to the attorney, to the probate, that money could be going to your family, but instead it's being tied up and it's going as fees. So it's important to sit down and speak to someone and map out your plan, what your intentions are, so that those intentions can be followed out.
That's amazing. And like I said, when listening to you right now and listening to your podcast, I mean, there was information upon information upon information. And I know a lot of people that watch this show are getting a lot out of this.
Well, that's awesome.
I mean, yes. I mean, like you said, right now, there are a lot of entrepreneurs. I have a website called Entrepreneurs on Fire. And there is so much that goes on to having a job, a company, a business. And there's a lot of people that are trying to create nonprofits.
Right.
And so how important is it to have someone or to have the knowledge of the finances, tax purposes, things like that?
So I think that everyone should have a general understanding of bookkeeping and taxes. If you're going to be a business owner, you need to know what your numbers are saying, right? So first of all, you need to track your numbers. And I find that that's kind of been my mission recently, is that so many people are not even tracking their numbers. So you don't know how much money you made. You don't know how much money you spent. You can go out and you can produce, you can promote a product, you can produce a product, you can come up with an idea, you can run with it, but you're not taking that step back and saying, hey, how much have I earned? Am I in the right entity structure? Am I paying the right taxes? What's it going to look like for me at the end of the year? So that's one part of it, but then it's also understanding just your taxes, understanding what's on your tax return, understanding the difference between, an expense and an asset. Revenue and expenses, the type of expenses, what you can deduct. A lot of people don't realize, you're missing out on deductions because you're not tracking it. Because if you don't have it, you don't know, and then it makes it more difficult at the end of the year for someone to go back. It's easier. I tell people it's easier to have more information than not enough information. So if you have all of these expenses in there, of course, keeping your business and your personal separate, right? But if you have all of the expenses that you've used to run your business in your software, and your tax professional comes back and they're asking, okay, well, what was this for? You can explain what was it for compared to trying to figure out what you did, because you don't have the information for it.
Wow.
So more information is better.
That's amazing. That's amazing. For those of you out there, if you're just joining me, of course, I'm Charles Ellis, and my guest today is Marjorie McPike, and she is giving some great information. I mean, it's amazing. And so feel free to write in the comments, feel free to ask questions. At the end of the show, I'm sure she's going to let you know how you can get in contact with her, where to find her, and things like that. So please take notes. Look, I'm doing that. That's what I do. And this has nothing to do with the questions I'm asking her. It's the information that she's giving and I'm trying to retain. So she's actually educating. Okay.
And it's funny because there's so much. It's like to kind of put it all out there. It's like there's so much information. There's so much with the tax code. There's so much with different areas of tax and finances and bookkeeping and different things. So it's like, sometimes it just takes someone asking a question in order to pull it out, because it's just all in there. So
wow.
If you have questions, feel free to ask them. If I can't answer it right now, I definitely know where to find the information. Whether it's in a book or resource, we talk about the podcast. I've had some amazing guests on my podcast, yes. Amazing guests. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I have some more episodes that are coming out. I've kind of hit a little delay in putting things out there, but it's going to be coming. But it's just the knowledge that's there and that people are willing to share their knowledge. I, like all of my guests, it's like, I want to see people succeed. That's the reason why I did it. I want to see people succeed in life, in their businesses, and grow. And it's like, you can't do that if you don't have the information, right? Or if you don't have the right team. So even if, even when you have the information, like I said, I recommend that everyone has a basic understanding of finances, their business finances, what you need to do. You may get to a point where you're not doing everything, but you still should have a basic understanding of it. And then you hire your team, you hire a CPA, you hire a tax professional, but you can check what they're doing. And that's another big thing. Whether it's a business owner or an individual, you should still know what's on your tax return, right? And you should still be able to check what's on your tax return. I put out a post on Instagram, I think it was Friday, and it was just the language at the bottom of the tax return. So when you sign your tax return, you're signing that you agree to what's written on there. You agree to what's being reported, and you're responsible for it. And people will let someone file a tax return for them that's not correct. And then they're the ones that's responsible for it. So you should at least understand what's on your tax return, at least understand the numbers. You may not know all the details, but at least understand the numbers and where the numbers came from.
Wow.
And that it appears reasonable. Excuse me.
There's been a few people, and usually during my shows, a lot of time I speak about, well, actually I got it when I was on the Dr. Stem show. And she actually mentioned it. And she says that right now, during this COVID, during these pandemic times, it's almost like the Red Sea has parted. And it's like when you go through it, are you going to come out the other end, the other side, the same way you went in? Or are you going to grow, level up, learn, as you say, educate? So when you do get to that other side, you're sort of like hitting the road running. Right. And you are able to, accomplish more, do more, and
right.
your best self. So I really understand that education and learning. Well, Marjorie, for you, did you actually plan this out, what you do, or did you kind of just fall into it, or did you kind of like for a long time knew that that's what you want to do, and was it challenging?
So we'll just kind of go all the way back. So I've always known that I've liked numbers. I've always liked numbers. So that was a big thing. I originally wanted to be a math teacher. And when I was in high school, someone, pointed out to me about going into accounting or being a CPA, because back then, as it still is now, you find very few Black female CPAs. You find very few Black CPAs, but females, it's very rare.
Right.
And so I checked into that, and I took a bookkeeping class, and I loved it. And that's just what it's been all along. So when I started college a while back, my degree was always accounting. So I've always been in accounting. I didn't always know the direct path, so I've had to make some changes back and forth. So it's like I didn't follow the traditional path. I graduated from high school when I was 16. A lot of people don't know that, but I was 16 when I graduated from high school, and I started going to college, and then I ended up getting married at 19, had kids, and then so when I started college, then I had kids. Of course, life changes, right? But I wanted to finish that. So I went back to school and I finished my degree. And then I went and I started working in public accounting. And that was challenging as well, because working full time and raising kids, you don't have the time to pursue all of the activities that are part of the college experience. A lot of people think that college is just the education, but it's not just that. There's a whole career development part that goes along with it, as well as the maturity part, right?
Yes.
Because they're supposed to be developing you into a well-rounded individual. So the outside activities, like being involved in the accounting society, or going to the meet the firms, or going to, any of the events that are going to help you to stand out in the accounting career, I wasn't able to do that. So it was a different challenge, a different path, but I still was able to to get the experience that I needed in order to get my license. So,
Got
and
you.
that was another story. So, a lot of people, get their accounting degree and then they stop, but, just having the I wouldn't say fortitude, but the determination to continue on and to obtain my license, it's another step. So, yeah.
I think
It's a mindset thing. You have to have the mindset, that you want to do it, that you're not going to quit. With anything, you have to have that mindset that you're not going to quit, and you just keep moving forward.
You're absolutely right. That's one of my favorite words: mindset. And you said it was challenging, and you had to do this, and yet your bio is so extensive. It's beautiful, and you're one of the founding members of the Alliance of Black Women Accountants. That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I mean, how did you come across that? It's just that it was a need, and you decided, hey.
Actually, it was a need, because, like I mentioned, that there are very few. The number, it's like less than 1% of CPAs are Black. So you figure less than that 1%, then how many of those are women? And so the organization was founded because, you have Black women that go to events, or that are trying to navigate their public accounting career, or just their accounting and finance career, and you don't have that camaraderie, you don't have that support system, you don't have that friendship, because there's not a lot of people that look like you. And that with anybody, when someone looks like you feel a little bit more comfortable, right? So not having that, we decided that there was a need for it in our area. And so we founded it. And our past president was someone that I had interviewed with at a CPA firm back in, oh my goodness, it was like 2006 when I interviewed with her. And I was really green, because I didn't even have my CPA license at that time. So I was really green into accounting, and I went to interview at this large firm, and they were looking for someone that had experience. And she was a Black lady. And my question to her was, do you mind if I keep your card in case if it don't works out, but do you mind if I keep your card, because just to have the connection? And she was like, sure, yeah. And so we just developed a friendship. So over the years, we would just stay in contact, talk every once in a while. And then when she decided that she wanted to start the organization, she brought together, there was like 5 of us that she brought together that had similar experiences with her, that she just met at a different event or met somewhere that she maintained that connection with. Because, like I said, there aren't a lot of Black women of color.
I know.
So,
I think it's great how you said, do you mind if I keep your card? I mean, little things like that. I mean, it comes back, and the people that you meet, and it's not just the networking. It's that seizing the moment, the opportunity, and opportunities are always there, but we don't see them or focus on them or notice them.
Right.
I think that's big.
You have to seize opportunities. And so that's something, that you can tell, your listeners and your followers, it's like seize opportunities, because you never know what's going to happen or what it's going to lead to.
Absolutely. And I love, and so many times it brings about this reciprocity, which is wonderful.
Yes.
I mean, even you, I've been following you for a while, and and I do. People who actually grew up with us or were in our area, such as I think one of the second, it was the second person that I had on my show back in January was Leah Smith.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, and she, she's a franchise owner. She's written some books, and she has franchises across the United States. And I helped her. She helped me, and she came on my show. I follow people, and I watch them grow, and like you, listening to you, all that information, come on, how can I just let it go?
Just let it go.
I mean? And so, again, I would like to thank you for being on this show.
You're welcome. Anytime. Like I said, my goal is to help people. So, anything that I have that I can share, I'm open to do it. I've spoken, we would do like financial literacy courses at our church. So I would do that. Of course, the webcast, even the organization, the Alliance of Black Women Accountants, we're available to present at different functions. We speak on financial literacy. We're actually working on like a series of educational classes that we can provide to small business owners, how we can help them, train them, whether it's in QuickBooks or just in their accounting, so we're working on things like that. So, and like I said, and if I don't know it, I know people. So, and I always try to be a connector. So I'm always putting somebody with somebody, helping somebody out, and seeing how I can be of value.
I love that, being of value. And you know what? I know helping people is actually not only a thrill and it's fulfilling, but you are actually being the change that you want to see in the world, as they say. And so you have to start with yourself. And when you help someone, there is a ripple effect. And I love that. And so, yeah, I love what you do. I don't know if you had if you were speaking or what. I think you were recently in Washington.
I was.
I didn't research. Right. And I follow. And I mean,
that was awesome. Yes.
I bet it was. I saw you and your husband, I saw the smiles and it was like, wow, man, this is what it's about.
And I was there. So just to kind of tell you that story, and then I'll make a few plugs while I'm on here. But Erica's Classic Climb, Erica Williams, she's on YouTube. And you watch Erica Williams.
Yes.
So she was having her tour, and my original thought was, she was going to come to San Diego. They were supposed to come to San Diego, and I was like, you guys always have these tours. People always have these big events where they're talking about making money. It's like, you guys never talk about the tax part of it. You never talk about the accounting. It's like, hey, just let me come and speak for your group in San Diego. It's like, it's no big. It's like, I want to be in the room anyway because my son was speaking, right? My son is Todd Millionaire. I don't like to say that too much, but anyway, but my son was speaking. And so I was like, well, I want to be in the room. It's just the people that were going to be there. Andre Hatchett, Tim Jackson, what's his name? Money Madhu. Just all these different people that were going to be in the room. I was like, I just want to go in here because I'm always looking for new information. And so they ended up canceling the conference here because California is more strict than other areas, due to COVID. And so they couldn't get in, but they invited me to go out to Washington, D.C. And it was awesome. And it was well received because you have so many small business owners, like I said, that they don't think about that part of it. They think about getting the product, promoting the product, or the course, or the whatever it is. They think about that part of it and making the money, but they don't think about the other side of it. And that's a big part of it. So you can't forget it. People always think that, and it's funny too, because they always think that the marketers and the social media people and all that, it's like, yeah, it's good to get the revenue and to generate the sales, but you have to think about that part. So don't devalue the person that's going to save you money, which is going to be your CPA. Don't devalue that person. So yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that, Marjorie. I really do. The people that we come in contact with and the people that, like you said, on the other side, or you think they're on the other side, they're doing some things. They're keeping that wheel turning.
Right.
So yeah, you can't devalue that. And I'm learning that more and more, even with what I do, up front, I'm trying to create content and strategy and things like that. But the backside and me trying to do all of that, I had to hire someone to do that. It was a load off of me. And so it's like now I've been kind of recharged. I've energized in the last 2.5, almost 3 months, I've lost 53 pounds.
Oh, wow.
That mindset. Because, right. I was doing what I was doing. I was writing. But I was eating. I'm doing my work. I'm eating again. And I wasn't really working out. And, so I changed all of that. I said, my mindset needs to change. Told some of my clients and my students, look, I have to change my mindset. And they said, okay, let's see. And I said, okay, we start now. And I haven't stopped.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Mindset plays such a big part in everything, and we don't think that it does, but it does. It plays such a big part in everything, in your health, your wealth, your finances, your life, your marriage, everything. It's the mindset. you know?
Right.
So you have to have the right mindset.
Wow, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, again, if you guys are joining me right now, I'm Charles Ellis, and I'm laughing because there's so much information coming in, and I'm so happy to have my guest, a dear friend, Marjorie McPike. She has given some great information. We're kind of getting toward the end of the episode, but before we go, I want to ask Marjorie. Marjorie, do you have anything that you can leave with our listeners and our viewers? And also after that, how can they get in contact with you or know more about what you do?
So if I would leave this so much. Wealthy people have advisors. So if you want to be wealthy, you need advisors. You need a team of people. You need to know your information, right? You need to know your facts. The guy who wrote, what's it called, Taxwell? You know, he says you have to know your facts in order to plan your activities, right? So know your facts. Be strategic and get a team. You know, even if you're small, still have someone that you can reach out and ask a question, because that information that they give you is going to be valuable for your growth and for your direction, right? So whether it's generational wealth, whether it's just establishing your business, running your business, just get information, find a team of advisors and meet with them and be strategic. Even with the Alliance of Black Women Accountants, one of the things that we talk about is being strategic. There has to be a way that you do things. You have a strategy for posting on Instagram, right? In order to grow. You have a strategy for, you know, losing weight. There's a strategy, right? There's something that you do. You have to have a strategy for your business finances and for your growth, for your career. So just find the strategy, know what it is, and implement it. And that comes from getting, you know, having advisors. So
Beautiful, beautiful.
you can find me on, I am on Instagram. It's at MLMCPA. I have a YouTube channel. It's the CPA Lady Podcast, or it may be Marjorie L. McPike CPA. And you can listen to my podcast on any of the major podcast platforms. If you just Google the CPA Lady Podcast, it'll pop up. And that's me. And feel free to reach out. My website is www.marjorielmcpikecpa.com. There's a free download on there. Sign up, join my mailing list. And I'm available. If you have a question, you can reach me on Instagram, send me a DM. I'd be happy to answer it.
Great, great, great. Amazing, amazing. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm going to review this. Those viewers out there, watch it as many times as you can and follow her instructions. Well, again, I'm Charles L. Ellis, and my guest today has been Marjorie Hicks McPike. And like I always say, it begins with gratitude, it ends with gratitude. Everything in between should be filled with gratitude. Awesome. So let that fire loose and have a gratitude day.
Awesome. Thank you for